Don't mistake my middle for your beginning. Michael McLean, nobullbook.com. Final day in Naples on the beach with my daughter Emery. We were up early today, 5:30 a.m. to get a walk in with Clifford and to do some reading. And Emery likes to read first thing every morning as well. Sweetie, we're about to fly home. Do you have any special advice for the men today?
Be relentless.
Be relentless. The indoctrination of children. Be relentless. I'll just be down here. I'll be just around here. If you need me, just give me a call, okay? So, the subject line, I have to give credit where credit is due. Do not compare my middle to your beginning. That is a quote from the great Billy Wagner. Billy is one of my past 5-star mastermind members, newsletter subscribers, and Billy just completed my 8-week world building program, my Badass Brotherhood. And Billy is a insurance agent, Brightway Insurance in Florida. And Billy is a incredible rags to riches success story. He's living the American dream, in my opinion. He has a $40 million insurance agency, and he's got a successful, and he's married to his best friend. So he's got a successful marriage. He's got 2 healthy and beautiful children. He's built his dream house, his home in Florida. They're like 2 blocks away from the beach. And by all intents and purposes, you would say that, Billy is a lucky guy, and, he's a true success story, which he is. The thing that I'm always amused by when it comes to these types of stories is how the 99% never understand the grind, they never understand the sacrifice, and they never understand the adversity and the dark days behind what looks like simple success. So here's a guy who has it all, but what most people, in the part of this story that's never ever told by the mainstream media, that's why you never listen to that garbage. It's never talked about on anti-social media. You're never going to hear this from the anti-business crowd, the socialist crowd, the pro-government crowd. But Billy Wagner, has built his very own world, a $40 million agency, and more importantly, a family, and he's built it from scratch. He's literally built it from scratch. As far as I know, his agency, he started from scratch, which means he started with no clients, no employees. He started like my dad, Frank McLean, started McLean Insurance way back in 1972. My dad started that agency, which we grew to 9,000 clients. My dad started that agency, co-founded that agency with a yellow page book that was 4 inches thick, dialing for dollars, literally. Belly to belly, toe to toe, in person, and telemarketing using the yellow pages of all things. And it's interesting because Billy's story is incredibly similar, where he started Brightway Insurance, almost a scratch agency, and all that people see today is, 9,000 clients, 40 million in premium, growing, successful. But they don't see the early days where there was no profit, there was no income, there was no cash flow, there were no employees, working Saturdays, working Sundays, working long weekends, and on and on. And that's the story that I like to tell, so that if you're a person, if you're a man watching this video, and you're into the habit of comparing yourself to other people's stories, I'm always here to say, stop comparing yourself to anybody else on this planet. That is a message that I have preached for a decade to my hockey players, to my business coach consulting clients, to my daughter Emery. The road to hell The road to hell and unhappiness is paved by comparing yourself to other people. We were created, our Creator put us on this earth to be the best version of you. Nobody else, not somebody else. Okay, and we're all given special gifts and special talents. My talent isn't to put a basketball in a hoop. My talent isn't to win a World Series. But I've been given special talents by my Creator that it's my job every single day to be the best version of Michael McLean. And the teaching reference that I use with my daughter Emery and with my athletes and with my consulting clients is run your own race. And that's never been more important than in 2022, where we live in the most fake, unauthentic society in history. Where in the anti-social media swamp, it's look at my vacation, look at my car, look at my PayPal account, look at my home, look at my family. And 99% of that stuff is absolute horseshit. And I've never met a person in all my years of coaching pro hockey, amateur hockey. I've worked with kids from age 5 up to men, age 75. And I have never to this day in my adult life ever met another man, another athlete, another businessman, entrepreneur, father, husband, who doesn't have at least something going on in their life in terms of a challenge, in terms of adversity. So I think it's really important that you never buy in to that fake life, that social media. That's why I say you need to never participate in that swamp, in that cancer, in that toxic environment. You need to get that stuff off your computers, off your apps, and never ever speak of it again. And that includes Facebook, that includes all of that stuff. It's just comparing, and it's literally the road to hell and unhappiness, because you're comparing yourself to ghosts. You're comparing yourself to absolute, unmitigated BS. So instead, all of your energy, physical and mental energy, should be focused on one thing every damn day. It should be focused on you becoming the best version of yourself. In other words, how can I get better? How can I learn from this? How can I improve? And you do it one thing at a time. It could be starting walking 5 minutes a day. It could be starting reading a book 5 minutes a day. It could be studying marketing for 5 minutes a day. It could be drinking half a gallon of water a day, giving up soda and pop, not buying it. It could be giving up alcohol. It could be you start praying for a couple of minutes every day when you wake up, having that attitude of gratitude. It could be things like time management. You could just make a rule that you'll no longer, ever be late for something in your life. Little daily improvements, one at a time, not two, one at a time, that then become lifestyle. But stop comparing yourself to others. Stop comparing yourself to anybody else. I've ran into people compare themselves to LeBron James. They compare themselves to Steve Jobs. They compare themselves to everybody but themselves. And even those people always have something going on in their life, and they're running their race, but that's not your race. So we need to ask ourselves every single morning, how can I become a better version of myself than I was yesterday? My job, Michael McLean's job, is to kill off the guy I was yesterday. To literally kill off the guy I was yesterday with an improved version for today. And the way I do that, I have a handful of things. I walk, I read, and I write every day, and those help me, constant and never-ending improvement. And then how can I help other people when I'm doing it? And that's the road to happiness. The opposite is the way to hell and unhappiness. But stop comparing other people's middle. A guy like Billy Wagner is an example with his $40 million agency and his picture-perfect life. Well, I know the backstory, and I know how much sacrifice Billy's made. I know how many challenges there were. I know all of the good, the bad, and the ugly. And comparing yourself to a guy who's been building his company for 20 years is only going to make you frustrated, and it's just not what you should be doing. Instead, you should be working on the daily, on your goals, on your mission, on your values, on your dreams. And that's how businesses like that get built over 20 years. If you're overweight, you're 75 pounds overweight, you need to worry about one person, and that's you need to set a goal to put on your shoes every morning and start off with one goal, walking 5 minutes. You can do that. And then when you walk 5 minutes, once you're up and going, say, well, today I'm going to walk 10. Next day, I'm going to walk 15. And you become the best version and you run your own race. Let's say you want to start working on the marketing of your business, spending time each day, like I do for an hour, doing things that bring you money. So for me, that's writing copy, that's, designing ads, whatever you want to call it. But what's critical is I started with 5 minutes. I used to set the timer for 5 minutes, and I would literally work on my number one priority for 5 to 10 minutes. That's how I built up that muscle. I didn't start at an hour. I started at 5 minutes. I started walking at 15 to 20 minutes, and I worked my way up gradually to an hour. But those tiny little victories every day. I didn't compare myself to John Carlton or Gary Halbert. I didn't compare myself to Tiger Woods or any of these other people. I mean, I use those people as inspiration for what can be done with incredible hard work. But as far as the rest of it, I mean, I ran my own race and I continue to run my own race. These are the handful of things that I need to do every day to be the best husband, best father, and best businessman and community leader that I am. And that's, I've been put on this earth to do a couple of things, and I'm hell-bent. I'm going to do those couple of things. There's nobody like you. There's nobody like you. There's nobody that has your specific gifts to give back. And it's your responsibility to live your best life. It's your personal responsibility. And like I said in the subject line or the title for this video, okay, don't compare my middle, okay, to your beginning. If you want to do some of the things that I'm doing to improve your life, like walking, drinking water, praying, writing down your goals, copywriting, spending more time having date nights with your wife, having date days with your kids, that's great. But I've been at this for 20 years. I've been at this with 20 years. I started at 5 minutes walking. I was 23 pounds overweight, okay, 19 years ago when I was working in my dad's agency for the first time. I put on 23 pounds in 90 days when I went from a coaching background where I was on the ice every day with my guys. I was in the weight room. I was training, to a sedentary lifestyle working at a desk. And I turned that all around and I lost those 23 pounds, but I started by walking 10 minutes every day, no days off. And then I worked my way up to 15 minutes and then 20 minutes and then finally 30 minutes. And I ran my own race. I didn't compare myself to anybody else. And then when it came to writing, copywriting and marketing, I started like 10 minutes a day. And then finally I got up to 15 minutes a day. And I got those victories under my belt, those tiny little victories that were good wins for me mentally. And I built the habit, and then it became a lifestyle over time. But I ran my own race. I didn't compare somebody else's middle to my end. A good analogy would be, Connor McDavid, the greatest hockey player alive right now. He's in his peak. He's been in the NHL for 7 years. Connor McDavid is a next level player, next level person. But you know what? The worst thing Connor McDavid could have ever did, and he didn't do this, is when he came into the NHL as a number one pick 7 years ago, the worst thing that Connor McDavid could have ever done was compare himself to Sidney Crosby. Well, Sidney Crosby won these many Stanley Cups. Sidney Crosby won this many gold medals. Sidney Crosby scored this many goals. No. For the last 7 years, Connor McDavid has worried about Connor McDavid. Every day that guy gets up, I know he shoots 300 pucks, he goes to the gym, what he eats, what he drinks, the books he reads, all the rest he gets, the nutrition. I'm telling you right now, he's a run his own race guy. And it's taken him 7 years to get to the semifinals of the Stanley Cup playoffs right now. And now he's going to have an opportunity, and maybe he's still not ready. And he's leading his team, the Edmonton Oilers, and he's got an opportunity in the Final Four here to possibly become a champion. Maybe he's not even ready. Maybe it's going to take longer. It took Sidney a long time. It took Gretzky a long time. It took Michael Jordan a long time. Like, running your own race is so critical. But stop comparing yourself to people that are in the middle, people that have 20 years in the business, people that have 30 years in the business. In the world building program that I just had, we had a couple of elite cleaners, including Billy Wagner, but we also had, David Linton, and we also had Bill Gough. And both of those guys are top 1% businessmen and top 1% people. And the worst thing anybody in our world building program or anybody watching these videos, the worst thing you can do is compare yourself to those guys. Like Bill Gough, #1 all-state agent in America for years, built that company up from scratch like Billy. Incredible wife, married his best friend. He's got a great family, beautiful home, the whole thing, serial entrepreneur, just a top 1% guy. But Bill, he'd be the first to admit that all of the adversity he's gone through, all the losses, all the embarrassments like I've gone through, all the people saying he couldn't do it. And it's the same for David Linton with his flooring company. I mean, he's got a massive business there. His goal is to grow that business to 30 million over the next 5 years. He's a man on a mission. But everybody looks at his life and they're like, wow, he's got it all. He's got, he's moved to Tennessee. He's going to build this great place on 2,000 acres. He's got freedom. He's got it all. But they don't see the behind the scenes. It's taken him 30 years to get there. It's taken Billy Gough 30, 40 years to get there. It took my dad 40 years to get there, to safe harbor position. And it took me 20 some years to get there. So when you run your own race, you don't waste any time and energy on anybody else but the man in the mirror. And that's so critical. Use those guys like Bill Gough and David Linton in our example, and you learn from those guys and you do use them as inspiration, but you don't fucking compare yourself to anybody else but the man in the mirror. That's control the controllables. That's the rule in our home. That's what I teach my 9-year-old daughter in the water here, is constantly control the controllables. If she mentions another kid at school or she mentions a teacher or a coach, first thing out of my mouth or Krista's mouth, is that within our control? And other people are not within our control. And then I say, Emery, back to working on you. Run your own race. She knows that shit inside out. It's like, I don't care if it's tennis, I don't care if it's chess, I don't care if it's swimming in the ocean, I don't care if it's lemonade stands or school. Run your own race. I don't care what anybody else is doing. I got my ass full of Michael McLean. She has her ass full of Emery McLean. And that's the way, like, run your own race and stop comparing yourself to people who have been at something for a long time. It's funny, I've restarted this business, Badass Millionaire, and I've been at it since American Thanksgiving. And my list is exploding. I mean, I have a video email list that's over 5,000 businessmen now. So yourself plus another, 5,000 men get my daily videos. But the thing is I was at this for 7 years before I took a break. I was at this for 7 years as a marketing and coach and consultant in the insurance business. So I built relationships and I had masterminds and I wrote newsletters and I wrote another book. So for a person entering the coaching niche, it's like, well, Michael has this and Michael, no. Run your own race, okay? When it comes to your marriage, run your own race. When it comes to the relationship with your children, run your own race. Do what you need to do to be the best version of the father you need to be. When it comes to your physical and mental health, run your own race. Learn from other people that are successful and are getting the result you want, but run your own race. When it comes to time management, run your own race. Learn from the best. When it comes to marketing, learn from the best, but run your own race. And stop comparing yourself to people that are in the middle. If you're beginning something, we all start something. I don't care what I started, whether I was coaching hockey or whether I was shooting videos or whether I was writing copy. I was horrible at the start. I was embarrassingly bad. And then gradually I got awful, then I got not so awful, and then I got okay, and then I finally got good, and then I kept working and got very good, and then I got excellent, and then I got to mastery. And it literally took me 10 years to master anything that I've mastered. And that's supposed to be it. It's 10,000 hours in 10 years. That's how long it takes to become a master copywriter or a master consultant or a master insurance agent or even a master father or husband. But you know, there's so much wisdom in what Billy said there. Stop comparing yourself, okay, your beginning to somebody else's middle. Learn from the best. Learn from the Bill Gaughs and the Billy Wagners and the David Lintons and all those guys. But learn from people that are already achieving what you want to achieve. But then, and then only, run your own race. That's it. I'm heading back to Canada. And this is the life that we've chosen for a few months of the year, at least each year. And that's running my own race. We're in Naples because this is my dream. This is my wife's dream. This is where we want to be. This isn't somebody else's dream. I'm running my own race being here. And we bought a home here. We're going to continue to run our race here. And I'm going to continue to work on being the best version of myself every single day. That's it. If you haven't got a copy of my book, How to Not Get Your Ass Kicked in Business and in Life, you can remedy that mistake at nobullbook.com. Get a copy of that badass book. It's a great door stopper. It's $19.95. I'll FedEx it to you for free. It's $20 and I'll pay for the shipping. Also, if you're interested in my kick-ass 8-week coaching program, apply below at badassmillionaire.com/apply. And you and I can get on the phone and possibly work together in the future. That's totally up to you. I don't care what you do either way, but I do care that you do not compare somebody else's middle or end to your beginning or middle. Run your own race, the man in the mirror. Become the best version of yourself every single day. Get up and ask yourself, constant and never-ending improvement, which is can I? And secondly is impact. How can I help other people at the same time? Can I and constant ending improvement equal personal sovereignty and happiness? That's it. 2 words that changed my life. 2 words that can change your life. Be relentless.